like a little tampon, and they're supposed to put it behind your cervix.
Okay.
And so the nurse who, like, bear with me, the nurse who was checking me, she's supposed to check my cervix first, and she was like, well, I can't reach your cervix. It's too far back. I'm like, okay, whatever. But then this is the same nurse who's putting the Cervidil behind my cervix. I'm like, well, if you couldn't reach my cervix when you were checking me, how did you get the Cervidil behind my cervix? This heaven gonna say she flicked it, and she gonna do that. I'm like, you ain't flicking nothing in my coochie. It's not that, like, you can't flick nothing. So I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So I asked another nurse, who was like, well, can you check me, because she said she couldn't reach my cervix, and that doesn't make sense to me. And that's when she's like, oh, well, she's been doing this 25 years, and she knows what she's doing. You just got to trust us. And then, so this drug is supposed to stay in you for 12 hours to dilate you. And the next morning, when my midwife checked me, she frowned up immediately. I said, let me guess, it wasn't properly placed. She was like, how did you know I was going to say that? I said, because I told them that 12 hours ago. So yeah, it was like stuff like that. Just.
So you're.
And I know that they've transitioned into Piedmont now, so it might be a better situation, because Piedmont has like different standards than Rockdale. Rockdale was like this little country hospital, and but I wouldn't go back. Let me just say that.
You so your birthing plan included a midwife.
My birthing plan, I wanted to be in a hospital because I had the bleeding disorder, the blood disorder. So I knew I wanted to be in the hospital, but the practice that I went to was comprised of all women, which I loved. It was 3 doctors and 2 midwives. 3 black women, 2 white women. I was like, okay, this is it. So I wasn't, even with the doctors, you're supposed to meet all 5 of the women before you have your baby. But like, that was a month early. So my appointment was the day after the day that I had to be checked into the hospital. And my doctor ended up being the one doctor that I hadn't met. So I was already a little uneasy with that, because I'm like, who are you? I don't know you. And the doctor, she said stuff. It was the weirdest thing. Like, in the hospital, when you're telling people, okay, well, this is my birthing plan, they would say stuff like, well, everybody I know who had a birthing plan ended up having a C-section. Like, why would you say something like that? It's like they just discourage. So I was initially happy with the practice, but I ended up not necessarily being happy with that one particular doctor. And yeah, I would do things so totally different if I could do it all over again. And if I have any other kids, it will be done totally different. So yeah.
With our Kamalu's father, are you in love?
Yes.
Tell me about
He's
that.
crazy. But yes. And that was quite the experience. Because he's a medical professional himself. He's a EMT, a paramedic. He was a medic in the military. So having him in there and knowing how things are supposed to be done, it got a little tense, because he would question the nurses like, what are you doing? That's not right. You're not doing that right. And they would get, upset because he was calling them out on stuff. And I know one nurse, like, threatened to call security on him. I'm like, wait a minute now, you can't call security on my support system. So here I am in bed, like, okay, everybody just calm down. So, yes, having him there, like, he was a great advocate, but it also was, like, a lot of tense moments. And again, he's a first-time dad, so there's also stuff that he didn't know, and it's just like, well, just deliver my child safely, make sure she's safe. But yeah, he's great though.
How'd you meet?
On Facebook, he slid in the DMs.
Girl, it bees like that sometimes. It bees like that sometimes.
He's actually the cousin of one of my friends who I've known since 2nd grade.
Okay.
So we sort of bonded over like my friends' postings and stuff like that, and we became Facebook friends. So I think we were Facebook friends for several years before he ever privately messaged me. So it wasn't just like, oh, you fine. I saw your pictures or whatever. It was somebody who I had sort of cultivated a relationship with just on my friends' postings. And then he sent me a message 4 years ago, and here we are.
What does the future hold for you guys? Or what do you hope the future holds for you?
What do I hope the future holds? Possibly one more baby. Possibly.
Yay! Listen, it is, I never procreated, but when I see people who are in position to have children, I'm like, have lots.
Yes.
Have lots.
Yeah. I mean, if you would have asked me days, weeks, even months after having my son, would I want another child? I'm like, They could have tied me up right then and there because it was just such a traumatic experience.
Right.
But now my mind is like, well, maybe. And they always say you forget the pain. You ain't forgot the pain. But you're like, well, I made it on the other side, and maybe I could do it again just to bring another child, into this world. You ain't forgot the pain. And you can see the scars. Like, you got that daily reminder every time you look at yourself in the mirror. So.
And a C-section.
Yes.
Yeah. I've never heard a C-section story where it wasn't a mess. To be honest with you, a mess.
I mean, C-sections and I feel like some doctors sort of push them because the hospital is a business, so they're trying to get you in, get you out as quickly as possible. So, like, even going back to that hospital, because I have 2 friends who are doulas.
Okay.
So my friends, and going back to my blood condition, I was told that you probably will have to have a natural birth because your platelets won't be high enough for you to get the epidural. So I'm sort of reframing my mind of, okay, I'm going to have this natural birth. So I'm talking to my doulas. I'm talking to friends. I'm looking at YouTube videos of women who've had natural birth. I'm trying to do everything I can to prepare myself for this natural birth. But, so my friends told me, like, okay,